Roundtable, we are going to be discussing the spiritual aspects of the global pandemic. Now, as a light worker, and along with Teri, we've been talking about this since March and really looking at the spiritual perspective. What are we hearing from spirit? What are we being asked to chant or pray for or meditate on? And every Sunday we have found ourselves in silent meditation and seeing different things. And it's really been a fascinating ride. And we have spoken with some of the folks here on the panel about those very issues. And it really dawned on us, we need to talk about this. And in coming together to do this panel, it's not to talk about what's the latest thing in the news or what's the latest conspiracy theory. It's not that at all. It's really just what spirit has been sharing with you throughout this process. Now, I want to say none of us has the only answer. What Teri's seen may be different than what I'm seeing, may be different than what John or Christina is seeing. And it's kind of like that old adage of four blind men trying to explain an elephant, right? One's got the trunk, one's got the tail, one's got the leg, and one's got the body. And I think by bringing together all of these different perspectives, then it just gives us more to chew on and more to kind of help us each figure out what the bigger picture is for us. Teri, anything you want to share about that?
I just think it's fascinating how when I'll make a statement that, oh, I heard this, the angels are sharing this, somebody else has heard it too. So I think that's going to be an interesting part of today. It's like how many of us are hearing those same messages come through from our spirit guides, from the angels, from the universe, and how does it all come into play with the big picture? Because we can't see the big picture, but like Ruth was saying, all of us putting our thoughts and our inspirations together, we'll get a better picture of what we're dealing with. And welcome, Sherry. So I think I would like to introduce everyone that's here with us on this panel. And thank you all for being here. We have Gabby Forrester from Australia. Welcome, Gabby. We have John Fiore in New Jersey. Hi, Jersey boy.
Jersey.
And
Good morning, everyone.
Christina's in Michigan. Sally De La Rosa from Michigan. And Sherry Myers from beautiful New Orleans. Hi, Sherry.
Hi, y'all.
And Ruth and I are right here in Boulder, Colorado at the moment. So we're so glad that you all could join in with us. And just, I'd love to just take a moment before we really go into discussion and ask this to be spirit-led, because that's what we're doing right now. We're tapping into that part of us that is so much more than this human body, this human experience. We are here together today as light workers, as those who are speaking with our voice and saying those things that Spirit wants us to know and wants others to know. So let's just take a moment and just breathe in. The breath will connect us right into each other. So see that breath going into your heart and connecting with every person here on the panel, finding that deep connection inside. It doesn't matter that we are a continent away, states away from each other, or if we're right here beside of each other. It's all the same energy. So as we connect in with our hearts, let's ask that our higher self, ask that the Creator, all the angels, and Divine Mother, help guide us and guide the words that we say. Inspire us with whatever thought we bring through to be processed and discussed, to really take over this meeting today. And may it be for the best and highest good of all that we hold this discussion. And we welcome anyone to speak freely. Anyone that's in the audience listening, if you have questions, to put your questions out there. This is a safe environment for us to discuss the issue around what's happening in our world today. This pandemic that has brought us to this place of really looking at the spiritual side of it. And we are so grateful to the angels, to the Creator, to the Christ consciousness, to Divine Mother. And it is with that we will open up this discussion. And I would like to share that I've been hearing a lot from the very beginning. Ever since I knew that there was something happening, it was like this thing, I felt it before it even got here. But once it was here and it was taking over and it was becoming pervasive, I really went in and asked a lot of questions of my spirit guides and the angels. And I'm like, what are we supposed to be doing? What's the action step? And I heard to really go into meditation. And then in meditation, I kept getting the message that this is an energy. Everything is energy. So this virus is an energy. And the way to deal with any energy that's in our realm of seeing things is to show it love, to not go into resistance, not go into the hatred and try to shoo it away. The way to deal with it is to love it. And that sounds so bizarre to say even. It's like, I'm supposed to love it? And yes, love is all there is. It's the only energy that is. If you're out of love, then you're in your head space and you're not thinking clearly about the situation and looking at it as an observer of the situation. So going into our hearts and loving it and shining a light on it and saying, I love you, your energy, I love you, and helping it transmute from the destruction that's happening into a positive energy. That's what I got. So I would just like to open it up and see if anybody else is hearing anything similar or what you're hearing from your guides as well. Teri.
Hi, I think the timing of this is so incredibly perfect as we are facing down at least 6 more months of isolation. And there's so much loss. Ruth, I lost my mom too. Ruth just lost her mom, and there is more loss to come. And I was able just recently to interview a dear friend of mine, Fred Ponslov, who channels Solomon. And I wanted just to read you this very small section of the interview. It just posted the audio on how to connect with angels. I was so eager to talk to Solomon, who has guided me for 30 years. Especially in view of this time that we're in, to get a perspective. And this is what he said, and it's not very short, so bear with me. Many people are going through a great deal of suffering, but we have to look on those people who are moving on to the next plane as going home. They need to replenish their spirit on the other side. And it's for that reason they've created this isolation so that others can find their real nature. It would be an insult to those who have moved on for us not to take this opportunity. They volunteered to create a space for us. And although that seems grim and dispiriting, they know that their time had to be to move on, and they know that their loss will affect us in a very deep way. Now the question is, what do we do with the loss? Do we curl up in a ball and lay on the floor, or do we deepen our connection to them in our isolation and re-engage with them? And we can take it as an opportunity to reconnect our lives to the larger spirit. It would be a waste not to take on this challenge. So this is what you all are here and we're doing, is to step forward and say, look, this period of isolation is a gift for us to readjust our perspective on stuff, relationships, our responsibility, how we think, what we eat. And it's going to take as long as it takes for us, perhaps, I'm thinking. It's going to take a while for us to understand the gravity and the opportunity. But as light workers, you see that, of course, because you will always be there with your light when people are in the darkness. And I found this very comforting, of course.
Thank you, Sherry. I'd like to introduce Beth Wright, who just joined us. Beth Wright is with Spirit Works and one of our hosts here on Enlightened World. Beth, thank you for being here. Well, Beth, you're muted.
I've been receiving messages about this, and as they're becoming stronger and more thorough, I've been kind of stepping back in my past and looking at how long the messages have truly been coming. Mm-hmm. And I've actually been receiving a look into this for the past 7 years, my whole time of stepping into this world. It started with my trainer, my psychic development trainer, who offered her ideas on what was to come. And it was there. I really kind of filed it, didn't really pay too much attention to it after that. But then now, coming into this center, I started receiving messages from the moment I walked in to see this place, that the angels were using our buildings, the lower levels, as their resting place as they fought for our souls. And I was like, that don't really make a lot of sense to me right now, but okay, I'll file it. It'll come back to me later. And then as we've progressed along, it's been more things here and there, that this whole virus is not something to fear. That if we fear it, we feed it. When we feed it, it comes to us. It is drawn to us. Right. And I was in deep panic over it when I first realized this was truly a thing. It wasn't a hoax. I deeply feared it. I really don't think that I could do another lung thing. But I was told quickly, don't do this. Do not fear this. You will get this. So I kind of pulled myself back and regrouped many times during this whole thing. But there is a lot of darkness that kind of comes with this. And you're right. We are supposed to do right now what we've gained all this training for. We've known this stuff for a while. We've known that we're light workers. Our lights are here for a reason. And we need, right now is such a big time to shine our lights as bright as we can, because the world needs to see. And it's no different with everything that has come out in the public eye in the recent past 10 years, I guess, or more or less. The whole, the whole sexual stuff with the churches, with famous people, so on, because we can't move on with all this on our backs. We have to heal it. We're not going to heal it until we shine our lights on it and we see it. It bubbles up. It's in our faces, in our focus, and then we can start healing it and moving on. We really have to shine. We have to vibrate higher. We have to find ways to lift each other, to hold each other up when we go through our transitions and our ascensions and all of this. We've got to join together. Teri, this is where you come in. You're that thread without even knowing what you were really, truly doing. You're that thread that pulled us all together, kind of up by our bootstraps, sewed us together. We're sewed with that really beautiful golden thread. Helps us shine. It helps us feel like we can do this together. Maybe not alone, but together we can do this. So as long as we keep our lights shining, I feel like we're going to be good through this.
John, I would love to hear what you've been getting.
You know, am I muted? No,
Nope.
I'm okay. Ruth, I couldn't, I didn't even get a chance to send my condolences to you. And I'm so sorry for your loss. And I wanted to reiterate what you said about, and Sally just did, and Sherry, that was beautiful. Everybody is going to have a different perspective on this, but I think after hearing everyone, you're going to notice a commonality that we've all been getting. And I agree. I've been getting thoughts on this, feelings ever since it started. But last night, I invited Jesus in for a direct message in a channel, and he gave it to me, and it makes so much sense based upon my experience in life as a businessman. And I'll read it to you. It's really not that long, but I'm sure it'll resonate with everyone. About what he gave. I asked to focus on the pandemic and the virus, and Jesus says, change happens through ugliness. Something we all know. This is by design of the Father. Trust that the Father knows exactly what we need. Death is inevitable. See how horrifying mine was, and it had to happen this way so that we understand. Many of you feel that you must suffer and are not worthy of happiness. And I'm sorry, I'm editing as I'm going with the message, but the feeling I was getting is that there is this general consensus that I hear a lot in people, that they feel like they must suffer. And suffering is part of life. However, not to the extent where we feel like we have to suffer. Many of you understand that, but I'll just go on with this, the message. So death is inevitable. See how horrifying mine was, and it had to happen this way so you could understand. Many of you feel that you must suffer and are not worthy of happiness. You are not being punished in any way by this virus. It will bring about great changes. See how your scientists are creating vaccines with speed not thought possible. This will pave the way for generations to come, as the planet will go through similar experiences yet again, and you will be better equipped to handle them. Yes, many livelihoods have been destroyed, which will give birth to marvelous creations out of the need to survive. Don't you see despair is not the answer, but rather faith and trust in yourselves. Yes, yourselves, as you are from the Creator and have the power to create. Focus on the needs of the people. Jesus was making reference to, if you want to make a living, focus on what people need as a way of creating. And so focus on the needs of the people. Things will get better. Father knows what you need. It shall be given to you. The road to getting what you want is as easy as being grateful for what you already have. Okay. I feel everybody can feel into that part of the message. Start understanding that gifts are not all. This is the gist of it. Start understanding that material things. Oh, let me get it back. I'm sorry. Start understanding that gifts are not all material things. Your greatest gift is your body, so treat it as such. The gift that it is. The body is the temple of the Lord. Feed it as if you were nurturing a child. It is through self-love that you heal yourself. Be truthful with yourself and tell the Father everything. When you deny the truth, you deny yourself. Do not give power to a virus. By all means, respect it by keeping yourself healthy. Now you see that all roads lead through good health, as many of you have not been totally aware of this. The powers that be will lose control and will respond to your interest in seeking natural methods of healing. Let your voice be heard. When you set intentions to have better health, be open to receive information that can help you. It comes in many ways, people, places, and things. Medicines can be marvelous at helping you get your body back into balance and sustain life. So focus on good health, and the less you will need medicine. Healing the human body starts with healing the emotions. What you felt as a child has much to do with your present health. Shift focus on goals of material wealth to quality of life, as it all follows from there. And then he was very bold about saying these next few words. He said, everyone must eat. And he wasn't speaking literally. He was asking you to feel into what that means for everyone on the planet. And then he said, more shall be shown to you. And then he wouldn't tell me anything else. And he says, more shall be shown to you in coming days. And he said that we know the way already. We know the way. That's what this, that's what this panel is all about. So I think everyone, when they channel whatever higher energy they're channeling, is filtering through the person they're channeling through, of course. And this is what I've been feeling all along, that especially in the United States, our how would you say, our model of success is based upon how much wealth you get. Okay, and Jesus is saying that's the wrong focus. The focus is quality of life, whatever that means for you. If you have less money and good health, you could create more wealth. But certainly, and I used, for some reason, Steve Jobs came to me when I was channeling that, because there were certainly words from Steve as he was ill in his last days that he wished he would have taken better care of himself, and focused on himself rather than money all the time. And so there's a message in that for all of us. I think we all know that, but there are too many people that feel that success is based upon how much money you have. And Jesus is saying, we kind of got the wrong focus there. And so, it's up to everybody to interpret these as they feel like it works for them. So that's what I got from Jesus. And everyone must eat is a bold statement that we must share resources with the whole planet. There shouldn't be the haves and the have-nots. So, however, that looks for you in your personal life, whether you want to help with a clothing drive, or everybody knows what that means. Okay. Certainly, when we look at starving children and people that don't even have enough to eat, something inside of us stirs that we feel like this can't be the way it is. There's enough for everyone. So certainly the virus, and I agree, not making it an enemy, and how I have an affirmation. I make everything work for me. So if you could ask yourself, how has this worked for me? What have I learned from it? What can I see? What can I create to make it better in my life? Okay. Am I taking better care of myself as a result of it? All of that stuff is a way of taking what is going on and what is yet to come. We still have more to learn about it, and to seeing what we can do to to make it better for ourselves. Okay, embracing everything, even a virus. How does it make? Well, it helped me to focus better, more on my health. Okay, what did it do for you? Ask yourself these questions. I mean, this is something I feel like everybody should sit down. And Teri, I couldn't agree more. Instead of being in the resistance and the hate of this virus, and it killed my business. Yes, and you know what? Certainly, there are people that suffered a lot. They lost their livelihoods and businesses, and we're not trying to make light of that. However, with their intellect and their need to survive, if they're going to stay here, they're going to create again and find ways of creating money again to take care of themselves and their families. So we can step back and look at that and say, wow, wait a minute, you lost your business during this thing, and now you're able to recreate something else. And so this is a matter of perspective, and I'm being objective and looking at from a God perspective. What is this helping you to see in your life? And I feel like everybody's got a sense of that in their own way, and we're going to hear all these different perspectives, and it's up to each of us to take what you hear, and if it resonates and say, oh yeah, that message was meant for me, then yes, it was. So there are people on the on the internet that are going to hear bits and pieces of everything that are going to resonate with them. And so that's what this is all about. And this was a wonderful idea. And so now it's time for someone else to give their perspective. Thank you.
Thank you, John. That was beautiful. It really was beautiful. Beth, would you share with us, what has this brought up for you? What have you been learning? What's your perspective on the whole virus situation?
Okay, so first of all, when it first hit, and the way that it was treated, I felt this, I was like celebrating, like rejoicing the time when of the first lockdown, when everyone had to go into lockdown, and the whole world became so peaceful. And remember, that's when all the dolphins started swimming in the canals in Venice, and the penguins were wandering the streets somewhere, and all the animals were looking like, where did all the humans go? And it was such a beautiful feeling of being cocooned in like the embrace of Mother, Father, God is what I felt. And I really got excited because to me, it was like the beginning of the new earth. And that was the indication that now the tables were going to turn. And what was once there would go there. And what was once there would go there. And it was the time that the meek would inherit the earth. So, and that just means to me that the people who are living in their hearts and they're not going after the money like John was talking about, but they really sit with the broken, and they sit with the poor, and they sit and take care of those that need to be lifted and loved, and remind them of who they are. And being raised in this society, I got broken down myself because I was always judging myself based on the way that society was rating people, the standards of how much money you make, or and I never measured up to that. And so I kind of had this lower feeling about myself, which was able to be healed this year. And when you look at how Jesus led his life, he didn't have the gold and all that, but the gold was in his heart, and the treasure is in our heart. And we don't ask for I want $6 million. When you learn to ask for enlightenment first, and connection to God, and moksha, and that is your highest wish, then everything is given to you. But you have to get to the place, and it usually does come through intense struggle and difficulty for an extended period of time. which humbles you and brings you down to the earth, where you realize what's really important and what really matters. And then you realize what a gift your life is and how valuable it is just to be in this body. And then you know to ask for enlightenment, or to become one with God, the merging with God. And as an energy healer and teacher, what I know about our light bodies is that we have to master our mental bodies, which is from the solar plexus, and we have to master our emotional bodies from the sacral chakra, which means we master our thoughts and emotions. And that's when we use those two together, along with our physical vehicle, our body, which is healthy, we can create. We can step into our creator self and move out of the victim consciousness and fully embrace our God-given powers that we have by birthright, as it is combined with our spiritual bodies. And as we are connecting to our higher self and our I am presence, when that light vehicle, that light body around us, the Merkaba, is working properly, and we are spinning the Merkaba, and we are activating the light body, and then we think and we feel what we wish to create, then it materializes in the physical form. But of course, it has to be in alignment with the creator. So it has to be for the good of all, not just for the personal self. And when we use our minds and our feelings and through our heart in the correct way, in alignment with the creator, then we create heaven on earth. And so that is the time now. Heaven is already on earth. It's just a frequency that we have to activate within our light body. And then we realize that. And I've actually had the amazing experience of being there one day in the 7th dimension. And when I was there for 8 hours, and it was amazing because there was no fear. I had never felt what it felt like to be truly free of fear. And all I wanted to do when I was in that state, in that frequency, was to share and give everything I had to anyone who needed it. And that's what I understood was what love was. You want to give everything that you have to and I'm getting chills as I'm doing this, I'm saying that. So this is a time for people who are, I think, who was saying, Sally was saying that, you want to stay out of fear. And it's so true. Like, I'm just in my own little bubble of joy, and I don't feel the fear of the virus. I'm urging others not to feel the fear. I'm catching a lot of flack for that, as I tell people and push back on that. I'm doing my best to respect others. But the more that we light workers can stay in our highest frequency, and each one of us is helping others guide others through this time, we are interconnected energetically, all across the planet. And this is how we can help lift the others up. So it is an amazing time. It is such an incredible gift to be here at this time, and to be in this body at this time and have this experience. And I know we will come through. We will be victorious. The light has already won, and we will see heaven being created on earth. I don't know how that's going to look for all the people on the planet. I don't know if some are left behind. The Hopi prophecy talks about that this time where the two roads split. So the lower road is where people stay in fear, and the higher road is where people are choosing the love. So that indicates to me that there are going to be some people that don't have the experience of heaven on earth, even though it is going to be here for many. And then it's just maybe a matter of bringing them on board as they work through their issues, clearing out their karma, clearing out their integrating their shadow aspects, and coming to know themselves as love and clearing all their blocks. So, Ruth and Teri, thank you so much for inviting me on. That is how I see this time, and I'm really happy to be a part of this. Thank you.
Thank you, Beth. When you talk about heaven on earth, and I'm reminded that every moment of every day, that's our option, to be experiencing heaven on earth right here, right now. And even as my mother was going through the virus, she was sick for 2 weeks. But as soon as she contracted it, it was the opportunity for us to say, how can we lift her up? How can we hold her in the highest of lights so she can, as a soul, do what she as a soul is wanting or needing to do? And even just this morning, I was in meditation and reminded that my mother had the choice whether she was going to stay or whether she was going to go. And she used her free will to decide to go. She was not that ill. She had amazing fatigue, but everything else was seemingly working fine. And she was sick for a week, and you could tell when she decided, okay, that's it, I'm out. And the rest of the time was, how do we support her physically while her soul transitions? So that heaven on earth, even as she was dying, we helped to create that heaven on earth for her and around her. So Beth, thank you for bringing that up.
Can I just say one more thing?
Say goodbye.
Yeah.
Can I just mention, I don't know if all of you are on the same page with me around the December 21st date of it being the Jupiter-Saturn conjunction with a huge influx of light. Like, this is the shift. This is the major turning point energetically. That, anyway, just wanted to see if anyone else had felt that way.
Thank you. Sherry does have to leave us, so we're going to let her say goodbye.
I am so sorry. This is so important, but I had a prior commitment. I wanted to thank you all. I'm honored to have been invited in to hear these beautiful words. Ruth, my heart is always with you, baby. Always. This one last thing that Solomon said that brought me around, and he said to remember that love is a verb. Love is a verb, to love. And every time we're loving on whatever we're doing, whoever we're with, and wherever we are, we're doing the work. So I love you all so much. I'm so
Thank you,
grateful.
Sherry.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Being with us.
Bye, honey.
So Gabby, do you want to unmute and share with us? Now, Gabby's coming to us from Australia. Everybody else is here in the States. So Gabby, what are your thoughts on all of this?
I pretty much, I love how everything's resonating and coming together, and it's just in different words and different terms, but we're all talking about the same thing. So for what I'm getting is, especially recently, this is just where I'm going to start. Recently, there seems to be a lot of focus on, with light workers, on tools when you hit those low spots, those shadow spots, how to pull yourself out of it. And like a lot of light workers finding, whereas they used to spend 3 weeks there, now they're spending 3 days or 3 hours or 3 minutes before they remember to pull themselves out. So they're transmuting their energy, right? From that low vibration to the high vibration. And same when we're all energy transmuters. So when you see someone low and you go into their space and lift them up, you're transmuting their energy. So what I'm getting is exactly what you said, Teri. The virus is energy. That everything is energy, and the virus is energy. And as light workers, we are able to transmute that energy. So for a while now, since the last gateway, I've been getting that we're like lightning rods, right? So we're pulling the energy down and putting it into Gaia, who she's doing her own whole thing, you know, but as light workers. So we can, the virus is through the separation it's causing, the anxiety, the depression, it's feeding itself, you know, it's just happily going along, feeding itself. So we need to grab bits of it and pull it in. And like you say, give it love. Well, that's transmuting it, isn't it? So the way I was seeing it though is we grab it like a big chunk of it and pull it into us, and we turn it and then push it back out again. But it's like an action, you know. You've got to think about it and think about pulling it in, turning it into white light and pushing it back out again into the universe. But we can transmute it. Absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you, Gabby.
Yes.
And I also am getting like you know how you were saying 2 roads and thinning and all the rest of it. What I was heard is the elements, sky's elements are going to thin. The air, earth, water, they will thin. I don't know what how the nice way to put it is, but yeah, but we can transmute this and turn it into positive energy, and in doing that we're raising everybody else up and hopefully making, I totally agree with you, Beth, that December 21 is a turning point. Absolute turning point. And I think also I've noticed a lot too, a lot of light workers and things with addictions, cigarettes, coffee, pot, other drugs, like mind enhancing drugs, they're all letting them go. They're all letting them go. Everyone seems to be clearing and becoming more pure. That's not the word, but you know what I mean. Clearing out all the junk, eating better, drinking more water, treating your body a bit more as a temple, as a lightning rod, because we're going to pull that sucker down and change everything. Yeah. So that's my 2 cents worth.
Christina.
Well, for me, it's been quite a journey. I've certainly had to go in phases through all of this, I think. But what keeps coming up is that every ugly and beautiful truth in our world has been exposed, whether it's a strength or a weakness. And so we're seeing fragments of our society, and I'm speaking on a global level, really have to come together and help one another. And that was really kind of weird for me, because it seemed like at first it was all about the isolation and going within and then doing all that work. And now for me, it has gone and progressed to be a very outward, more outward now. It's not just about me. It's about the world. And there are places, this is why this is still here. There are places that we are still stuck. And until we are able to join hands because of compassion, because of love, because of mercy for someone else who perhaps their body isn't ready for this, as some are, we have to have that compassion and love for all the older people that okay, so somebody already said, and the meek shall inherit the earth. That whole part of the Bible has really been coming back up for me. The poor, all of the places that we have failed, quite frankly, as a society to fix up until this point. And I do believe that December 21st, that does have a significance with me as well. But I think right now we're in still that holding pattern for now until we reach that level of that turning point where there's enough energy at that point to go the other way. And so for me, the words of mercy, compassion, forgiveness, that you find the light in the darkness, but that's no longer enough, that you have to be that light and truly step out. If we're going to call ourselves light workers, then we have to be able to actually work that light. And I feel like the angels are still here supporting us, but they have other things they've got to attend to now. And that the light workers are here to help hold that front line with them so that they can attend to some of these people that might not be quite to that point yet. It's been, to me, the pandemic has been a great illuminator. That is the word that I would use for it. It has illuminated spots of our society, whether we want to see those or not, and spots within ourselves as well. Like I said, the whole first part of this was very inward. A lot of healing that went on and occurred, and it was very much about me. But now I just feel like it's already started to shift now, where we really have to think about others. We have to be there for others as well. And no, I'm not saying at the expense to us, but we have that freedom now to choose what we would like our soul to be. And I mean, I hear that word freedom getting put all over the place, and I'm not talking about a personal freedom here. I'm talking about the soul's freedom to be that true love that we want to see, and to be that compassion. And sometimes that is much harder than just calling somebody else a name, or, it's just, sometimes it's harder to hold that line. And I guess I feel like right now we have to be that solid, calm, peaceful light, so that other people know what to look for if they're not quite there yet, and so that we can advance when it's time to. I'm excited about the future, though. I will say this. In the beginning, I wasn't really sure where the light was. I knew it was there. I've had enough happen in my life to know that the light is there somewhere. It's just sometimes it's hard. You have to open up a curtain or something like that to see. And now, especially the last couple of weeks, I do feel as though I can see that light at the end of the tunnel. I think things are going to get a little worse before they get a little bit better. And then it's going to be a nice, once things start turning that tipping point, I think everyone will be able to feel it then. And I am grateful for having this emergency prioritization meeting. Okay, that has lasted for months now. I am grateful for the opportunity to have made decisions for myself about who I'm going to allow into my life, and what kind of energy I'm going to allow to be brought into my life. It's just really crystallized some things, even in the face of sometimes not being able to see a foot past my face, so to, in that way. But yet, other things are just so crystal clear. And like I said, I feel hopeful in a way that perhaps 2 months ago, I would have been like, oh, geez, this is quite the marathon. But now I'm starting to see that finish line and really seeing that light. And I just want to know that I can see that now. And that's been just a wonderful feeling that I can see that light has appeared and it is happening. And just continue to just really try to find the word mercy. And we have so many people who have shown us before this time how to really be merciful. And that's what's going to see us through, that mercy to others and that compassion to others. And we just have to stay that line. We're almost there. And I'm thankful for all of you for being such good pillars of light in my life. So that I feel like I can shine mine bright as well. So thank you.
And Christina, we've been watching you shine your light brightly. It's been beautiful. You know, I've been reminded that we all have our own rules. And as many of you said, we are here now for a reason. Each of us is here now for a reason. And I know for me, my role that I've been asked to take on over and over again here is that of holding space. Teri, what, if you had to like define a role that you've been asked to play in these last 9 months, what role has that been for you?
I think the role that has been shown for me is to motivate and inspire and just help us all to understand what it means to hold space or what it means to love. And I loved what Sherry brought out. Love is a verb. It's an action. When we think, and when I heard the message to shine love into the virus, I'm like, well, you know, how do I do that? Because it's something that I don't want to love what has happened, but to love the energy means to lift it, to lift that vibration. And I think that is what my role has been, is like bringing us all to that understanding of what it means to shine a light and what it means to show the love and that compassion to this energy. It's energy. We are all energy. So we always talk about how we're all one, we're all connected, we're all the same. So if we look at the virus as energy that's connected to us, why would we not love it if it's part of us? And I see what really happened here today, all of us really shining our light. That's what you did. You did an action today. You did an act of love today. And you were brought here. You came willingly, but you had a divine appointment to be here. We all do. And my divine appointment, when you ask that question, what's my role, is to show up wherever I've been guided to be. And I was guided to be here today, just like you were. So we all have that divine appointment to do, not just to sit. And it's important to sit and pray and meditate, but it's just as important to, when you hear the message, to do something, to actually do it, to move forward, to take an action. So.
Thank you for that. So I would like to go around. I know our time is running short here, but I would just like to hear from each panelist what last thoughts you would want to leave with this group. So who's on? Sally, why don't you go first?
Being put on the spot. I was lost in thought, listening to everybody. First, I just got to say, I agree with so much what everybody said. In my weekly readings, I don't know how many times during every readings, value your body as a temple has come up. So the better health and living it's been a focus for a lot of people. My thoughts are, love yourself more. Pay attention to your body. Your body is a magnificent tool and it will guide us through everything. So if we just take that moment to listen, quiet down that still inner voice and just pull within yourself and listen to yourself. Your body's going to tell you what to do next. So it's just a matter of kind of silencing that chaotic energy of the world today and kind of stepping within yourself from time to time and checking in. See what your body needs today, because what's needed today may not be what you need tomorrow. So, the issues with Tony, And she's also teaching me a lot of this, watching her go through what she's going through, that our bodies are temples. And it's enough, it's time for us to walk away from that dumping ground that we've been treating ourselves as. Nicotine, drugs, whether they're over the counter or prescription or recreational or whatever you want to label them. The horrible feelings that we feel towards ourselves if we're just not exactly who we want to be. Just everything. Look at ourselves, stop taking ourselves for granted, and love ourselves first. When we love ourselves first, everything else in life will work its way out. Always remembering that you have to be human first. And human issues, we've got to go through them. But sometimes when we stop and we love ourselves a little bit more, it makes those human issues very small in comparison. So absolutely, I have to say, spread that love, spread that light, be who you were here to be. Step back into your power, take back that light. There are forces that are trying to dim our lights. Don't let it. I feel like it's a matter of our choice. So just keep moving forward, keep pushing and leaning on each other, helping each other, and not being afraid to, when we see that person struggling, not being afraid to reach your hand out and say, hey, I'm here. Like that few minutes with Christina yesterday kind of re-energized my batteries. And I felt like we kind of sparked, and then it's okay, we can go do this. So it helps. It helps.
Beautiful. Thank you, Sally. Beth, how about from you? Last thoughts.
Okay, so I think that, Sally, I love what you said about, the self-love, we have to pour love onto all aspects of ourselves. And then the more we do that, when we get to that certain point where we can feel our wholeness and experience the wholeness that we already are, because we've removed any blocks to love, then we will receive our divine inheritance, which is living within the kingdom of God. And so that means that we're all going to be receiving amazing gifts in the form of spiritual gifts, as well as earthly gifts. And this month of December, my life is changing exponentially. Things are happening within the first 5 days. My whole life has changed in a week. And it's the most incredible and beautiful experience. It's like it's miracles. So as we allow that to happen for us, then we can live as leading and living examples for others, as role models, and show them, hey, if you walk this path, let me show you, guide you. This is what you can receive. This is how you can live, so that they can go, oh, it's not just all talk. I'm seeing it in action. And yeah, those are my final words.
Thank you. Gabby, do you mind unmuting and sharing some last thoughts?
I guess my last thoughts, and I seem to be saying this a lot to people lately, is to remember the importance of grounding. If you're just ground right down into Gaia, if you've got a solid base, they can't shake you, they can't rock you if you're into that solid base. And same thing, self-care, but also start practicing it, like random acts of kindness. Just, smile at someone you wouldn't normally smile at. Pay it forward. Pick a flower and give it to somebody as you walk past them. It doesn't have to cost you anything. But I think random acts of kindness is a great way to immediately lift the people around you who are in low vibration and make them start thinking about being in a high vibration. So I would say ground, and sit in the love. Once you've grounded, sit in the love and push it all out everywhere else.
Thank you. John, would you unmute and share some thoughts?
Sure, Ruth, I'm gonna try and say this as quickly as I can. This really peels off of what Sally and Beth said. This thing about self-love, I really, really feel that people get confused about self-love. What does it mean to love yourself? Well, this is a very, very, very common thing with people who are very grateful. And I'm actually going to be doing some lives about this. When you're grateful, you feel like you can't express your emotions. And being an EFT practitioner, that is the foundation of self-love, being compassionate with self. So on the days that you're feeling sad, angry, abandoned, whatever it is, we tend as light workers, I see this, to kind of resist that because I don't want to seem ungrateful. And we really do ourselves and everyone else a disservice because we're in resistance and we're not shining our light. So we're basically in a state of self-judgment. Okay, and I'll peel off of what Sally said. So what do? We drink, we eat, we take drugs. We beat ourselves up with ways of feeling better. So even being light workers and we're doing this work and we're sharing our love, sharing our gifts and teaching people and being compassionate with others, why don't we do this to ourselves in times of emotional distress? I find myself doing that. I find myself when I'm feeling low, angry, sad, whatever, oh, I don't want to seem that way. I got to be grateful all the time. Well, to get to the gratitude, you got to acknowledge and accept and be compassionate with what you're feeling. You have emotions. And this is something I feel is greatly missed by people that are light workers and generally very grateful people. They try to heal everything with gratitude. You get to the gratitude by being self-compassionate. And so this is the first step in healing that I ask everybody to not forget when they're feeling something. Today I'm feeling, I'm just making examples. Today I'm feeling off and I don't know why. My energy is off. You'll hear a lot of light workers say that. The energy is so high and they look for reasons why their energy is off or down or whatever, instead of, I like to tap, but everyone can meditate or do whatever they like. Even though I'm feeling sad and off, I don't know why. I'd like to get everybody into that perspective. There doesn't have to be a why when you're feeling off. It's just how you're constructed as a human, and to be compassionate with yourself. So I could go on all day about this. So let's cut it there.
That's
Thanks,
great.
Ruth.
Thank you so much, John. Christina, do you want to give us some?
Hi. So I'm just going to keep mine very short because everyone else here has already said so many wise words that I really agree with, and it resonates. So mine it will be this. Remember love, remember forgiveness, remember mercy, remember unity, remember compassion with yourself and with others, because it truly is that balance. Again, we have to balance the two. And don't forget the violet flame. The violet flame is able to transmute that energy immediately. Just thinking about it begins to transmute that energy. That's one of the things that it does so well. That is what it does. So those would be my words: to balance between yourself and others. Once you find it, and you know what to do with it.
Thank you, Christina. It was beautiful. We heard from everybody? We heard from Gabby a second time? Yes. Okay. Teri, what are your final words, please?
Wow, what beautiful, beautiful messages you all have brought forth today. And we titled this perspectives. And I just want to end with reminding us of the beautiful words of Dr. Wayne Dyer. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. So I hope that the perspectives that have been given here today by all of us will help you look at the energy of this virus, the energy of what's happening with the pandemic, with everything that's going on, and say, what can I do? Love is an action. Remember that. What can I do? And what we can do is change our own frequency, as we've heard many talk about, that self-compassion and self-love. That's the number one thing we can do. We have control over that. So going inside and just showing yourself love and then letting that expand out from you. So change the way we're looking at this energy and show it love and show ourselves that love and compassion and give it forward. That's huge. And Christina, thank you for the reminder of the violet flame, because that's the other thing is we have tools. We have EFT, like John reminded us. We have meditation, we have prayer, we have all of these things in our arsenal. I call it the arsenal of love. So use them. Use what you have available. And let's do this. Let's change our planet. We have the power. And thank you all so much for your beautiful words and for being here today with us.
What an honor and treat to be here with Gabby and Beth and Sally, Christina, John, Sherry. It's such an honor to be here with Enlightened World and hearing the perspectives that each of you bring. And I just feel so emboldened to be here with such brothers and sisters in light. So thank you so much. And I'm just reminded, my parting words, let anything that isn't love fall away. So with that, we thank you. We thank you for being here. And on behalf of Enlightened World, take good care and God bless. Thank you.